Hello and welcome to Business Nigeria, where we'll bring you latest happenings and in-depth analysis in the world of business across the country. I am Tululokpe Ogunjobi. A warm welcome to you again. Now, first, let's look at some reports making headlines in the world of business. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria says the only way the country can quicken its move away from recession is to uphold integrity in the management of the planned $29 billion that the government is seeking to borrow. The ICANN president was speaking at the inauguration of the BBC Professionals outfit in Lagos. Details in this report.
Professionals gathered here are not unmindful of the importance that their profession places on them, and the current economic realities can only mean added responsibilities. With the Nigerian government trying every measure to fix the economy and a fresh plan to borrow almost $30 billion, partners of BBC Professionals believe what is needed is a focus on projects that have the potential of creating jobs and empower citizens.
When people are engaged, and government can engage some, if you engage a contractor to construct roads, one contractor can engage maybe 1,000 people or 2,000 people and things of that nature. These are the ways. Yes, government wants to borrow. I believe that borrowing is part of it, but money must be used judiciously so that we don't borrow to continue to start to regret it. But when money is borrowed, it must be used for productive purposes.
Government tells us we've recovered these trillions of money, trillions of naira. That is the cheapest way. I call it equity financing for the budget. If we can plow some of those recoveries into the areas of need, into power, generate employment, then we will begin to see the real solutions to fiscal and monetary management in Nigeria.
Managing partner of BBC Professionals says the country will get it right if it musters the will to look inwards and demand professionalism as a core way of doing business.
If Nigerian leaders can imbibe that culture of service and not self-interest, not serving their own personal aggrandizement, not serving their own me, myself, my family alone, Nigeria will be better than where we are today. I cannot exonerate the accounting or accountancy body that if we are elected today or we're in politics, politicians will corrupt the good ones, unfortunately.
Since Nigeria was hit with a fluctuating price in crude oil and the resultant drop in income, experts have renewed their call for a full diversification of the economy. Forums like these will no doubt offer more opportunities to allow government fine-tune its strategies to fix the economy.
The Senate Committee on Communications has tasked the National Broadcasting Commission to begin consultation with consumer groups, telecommunications operators, opinion leaders and other experts on a new minimum data pricing plan for the country. The committee gave the directive when the NCC and telecommunications operators appeared before it on Tuesday at a public hearing on the suspended new data price regime in Nigeria.
The NCC and telecommunications operators in Nigeria are here following summons by the Nigerian Senate on the recent outcry by Nigerians over proposed data tariff increase. The NCC says its pegging of the price of a megabyte of data at 90 kobo is a floor pricing standardization and reduction strategy and not an increase as been speculated. The Commission insists the initial cost of data was pegged at 3 naira 11 kobo per megabyte, but that it suspended the price 2 years ago to allow for broadband penetration and infrastructure development.
It was a floor price of 3 naira 11 kobo. And the floor price was suspended to allow for deployment of infrastructure that will support data. But during the period of suspension of the floor price, positive things happened. the broadband penetration climbed up from about 8% to 21%. We were still watching when we noticed an imminent price war in data, and therefore decided to invoke the condition. Exactly, the condition we gave. Nigerians have expressed their unhappiness with this interim measure, and we have listened and suspended the interim measure.
The operators are unanimous that data rising should be left to market forces rather than the regulator. They charge the NCC to carry out a proper costing and market survey to ensure fair play for all players.
Implementation of the new floor price suggested by the NCC necessitated all the OPCOs to go and look at our existing products and confirm that none of these products were breaching that floor price.
There is a misconception that it is a data price increase. It is not a data price increase. It's actually a floor that has been introduced to stem, the anti-competitive tendencies which the NCC rightly observed.
Minister of Communications, Adebayo Shitu, and the lawmakers say the NCC failed to properly communicate its data pricing decision to Nigerians and asked it to correct such actions.
There must not be too many interventions in the activities of the NCC. I am a political office holder, I'm not an expert. So I cannot venture to say whether they did wrong or right.
Nigerians are of the opinion that this is not the right time for any increase in data tariff.
At the end of the hearing, NCC agrees to engage with all parties and promises to carry out a scientific study before coming out with a new floor pricing template for sales of data in Nigeria.
The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, and the Department for International Development, DFID, have put in place a platform where small businesses can acquire information on loans. These organizations believe poor access to information is one of the factors responsible for financing problems facing medium and small-scale businesses in the country. They feel the online loan information platform will help bridge the knowledge gap that exists where credit to MSMEs is concerned.
A portal that will provide information, all available information by financial institutions that MSME needs to meet or needs to know before they can be able to access their funding. So this is exactly what we are doing, because we found out that information is the basic problem that is militating against access to finance.
This initiative is an information platform that should give information on credit and finance to businesses. So one of the, access to finance has a number of challenges. One of those constraints and challenges is lack of information. Businesses don't even know where to go and to talk to which bank or which financial institution. They don't know which products they have, whether it's suitable for their business or not. So at least this information platform should be able to guide a business as to the best location to go to access the kind of finance that will be adequate for their kind of business.
You're watching Business Nigeria. We go on the break now and we'll be back with more on the show. Stay with us, please. Thanks for staying with us. The bearish trend in the Nigerian equities market persisted in the month of November, leaving investors with a combined loss of 660 billion naira. The market has largely suffered from declines in trade value and volumes for a good part of the year, thus weakening investors' participation and the market turnover. Data from the NSE show that by November the 30th, which was the last day of the trading for the month, the NSE capitalization stood at 8.689 trillion naira, while the NSE all-share index was about 25,241.63 basis points. This therefore means over 7% decline in the NSE market capitalization and investors what the 1 month period. The President Fund Managers Association of Nigeria, Ore Shofekun, described the current state of the equities market as challenging for investors, adding that the prevailing economic recession is not helping the situation. She called on investors to study trends in the market and make informed decisions if they were nursing a buy or sell consideration. Now, the Nigerian stock market has largely been depressed by sales pressure by investors who eagerly react to economic conditions. The problem of recession and running inflation have witnessed massive sales of securities as people desire to hold money. The lack of money in circulation prevents many people from playing the market effectively. Data from the market revealed that investors at the exchange lost as much as 660 billion naira at the close of the third quarter in September. Reliable market sources say that the negative profile of the market worsened in November. Well, on Business Nigeria today, the focus is on the Nigerian stock market and the losses, just like we've highlighted. Well, I have with me via phone Rotimi Fakaijo, who is a stockbroker and also in the course of the program, an investment analyst, GBENGA OGUNRIOLA, will also join us to give us perspective on the state of the market. But let me start with Rotimi. Rotimi, the Nigerian market bleeds and investors are crying. It seems the situation is critical, or what do you say to this? Oh, I'm sure challenges there in trying to connect Rotimi there to give his views on this very important topic. But I'm sure we'll get across to him and still speak to him because that's our topic for the day, looking at the Nigerian stock market. But as we try to get connection or reconnect to Rotimi Fakaijo, let's look at other stories. Now, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has promised to work on streamlining logistics and mechanisms hindering access to funds for development of the small and medium-scale enterprises. He noted that out of the 220 billion naira earmarked for the sector in 2014, only about 80 billion naira of the amount has been accessed so far. Emefiele stated this during the fact-finding mission of the Presidential Task Force on Agricultural Commodities and Production. The team visited Eriwe Fish Farm Village in Ijebu-Ode, Akpoje Farm Settlement in Odeda, Kotukpo Greenhouse Farm, and Awowo Farm Settlement, all in southwest Ogun State. Some of the farmers complained of lack of single-digit loans to support their businesses, and they want the government to provide more infrastructure.
The problem really here is the lack of infrastructure, electricity, road network, and the issue of donable funds. We need funds for our people, particularly for the feed mill. We want the expansion of the feed mill, and we want to involve ourselves in the export of fish.
In 2014, the Central Bank of Nigeria launched a 220 billion naira micro, small and medium enterprise loan facility for your kind of business. Unfortunately, access to this funding has not been easy. What has been disbursed of this money is less than 80 billion. So what that means is that there is a lot of room for you to draw on this facility.
If you look at the quantum of people that are here, it's over 3,000 of these funds like this. And each of these funds will have about a minimum between 5,000 and 6,000. So you can do the arithmetic. So you know that in this place alone, this is a heavy industry that is going on here.
Well, the umbrella body of information technology enabled outsourcing companies in Nigeria is advocating service diversification as an instrument for economic growth, wealth, and job creation. The Association of Information Technology Enabled Outsourcing Companies made this known at the 4th Nigerian Business Process Outsourcing Conference in Abuja. Organizers say the conference is an investment forum aimed at showcasing the opportunities and potentials of the business process outsourcing industry.
With technology trends and other external factors shaping the industry, it is a hallowed expectation that true research be conducted to shape our interventions and determine what cardinal roles and strategies to adopt in order to be relevant and continually benefit from this global phenomenon. In this respect, the outsourcing unit of the Department of Software and Outsourcing will embark upon focused research to bring about industry trends that share participation for Nigeria.
The jobs created are what we call sustainable and demand-driven. At the same time, this industry can create wealth. It can create a new economy. New businesses can come up. So we're trying to use this event as an advocacy event to bring this out. We want this to become part of the national discussion, and we want intentional effort to be made by both the public and private sector to grow this industry.
Well, back to our topic of the day, considering the issues surrounding the Nigerian stock market. I have an investment analyst now, GBENGA OGUNRIOLA, to join us via phone from the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange to talk more on the current market fundamentals. Thanks for joining us, GBENGA. Now, let's look at the market sector performances. Where is the pressure hitting harder, and which areas are fared relatively better at this time?
Well, generally, you have the pressure hitting across the board, but the banking sector has been the worst hit because they are also the most liquid stock, and because of the recession, it has affected them greatly. We also have the manufacturing sectors too, because of the problem of acquisition of raw materials and all that. They've also been affected because of the dollar forex.
So what type of dividends could investors expect from quoted companies this year?
Well, we see some of these companies that have been able to, despite the recession, they've been able to still stay afloat, and they've been doing well in some cases. The likes of GTB, Zenith, Access Bank, and GBA, they've been able to stay above board even despite the recession. Also, we have some companies, particularly in the agricultural sector, like Okomu, like Presco, that have also turned out good quarterly results. So we expect that these companies will still come up with their traditional good results. But for the likes of probably Cadbury, the likes of Nestle, we might have a dwindled dividend this time around.
Without a vibrant stock market, there may be no expansion in the economy, and employment creation will definitely suffer. Now, tell me, how can we really move the economy upwards if all of us don't come to support the stock market growth?
Well, I think the government needs to come to that reality that the stock exchange is actually the barometer of the economy, and the more they support the stock market, the more the economy will be seen in a good and better light. But if they refuse to support the market, then automatically the market will continue to be depressed, and that is also an indication that the economy is depressed. So I believe that we can come up with policies that would encourage investors to invest in the market. We can come up with policies that will encourage companies that are quoted in the market to be more profitable. We can come up with policies that will make the market the top knob of the society and of the country.
GBENGA, before I let you go, with all of this identified, can you say our market will still be able to attract foreign investors? We've heard of investors sitting on the fence, and some even not very sure. The issue of confidence, don't forget.
Yes, the market has not been attracting the kind of ratings that we have been used to in the past couple of years, particularly because the forex regime is so murky and so uncertain. So foreign investors are skeptical. When they come in, yes, they can bring in their money, but when it comes to moving in their money out, how do they get their money back? So that has been a big challenge for some of them. Some of them have to queue up so that the dollar is available before they can move their money out. So this has been a big challenge But you still have some few foreign investors that are still sticking around and believe that the economy will pick up. But generally, there's been a drop.
Indeed, as we go to the end of the year, do you see the remaining weeks coming up strong? Are there any hopes of anything coming up in terms of activities?
Yes. I read we are seeing some increased activities in some certain stocks, and I believe that for those stocks that will be paying out good dividends, genuine investors, Islamic investors, begin to search for those stocks now and begin to buy ahead of time, because by the time we enter the new year, it might be a bit late. Strategizing to buy such stocks. So some they start buying now, and that might do some increased activities and increase buying some of them.
All right, I must thank you for your time there, GBENGA OGUNRIOLA there, an investment analyst who's also a stockbroker at the Nigerian stock market, giving his views on the present state of the Nigerian capital markets, particularly with regards to the 660 billion loss being experienced and also investors' confidence and all that surrounding the market. I must thank you for joining us on Business Nigeria.
Very much.
And finally on the show today, now crude oil prices have stayed mixed in the global market following the close range of prices put on various brands. At the London market, the Brent trades for $54 per barrel, showing a drop by 9 cents. Analysts point to last week's output cuts by OPEC ministers as having positive effects on the Nigerian market, on the price of the crude. Now the OPEC basket trades for $51 per barrel. Well, that's our package for you today on the show, Business Nigeria. Join us another time for more comprehensive analysis. I am Tolulokpe Ogunjobi. I leave you with the figures of the exchange rate as it stands today. On behalf of the entire crew, thanks for watching.